Hi, welcome to Servant Crafts. We're so glad you joined us. My name is Carla, and I want to just take a moment to thank all those who've subscribed and been supporting my channel. Thank you so much for riding along this crazy ride with me in all this wild learning curve with new equipment and new techniques. So I'm just going to keep growing, keep trying to make things new and fresh and learn every day. So today I like to share with you how I embellish store-purchased baby socks so that they can be given as gifts. That is a little bit more than just the package sock that you purchase. So I have crocheted an edge to this, added a little rosette. It's really simple. You can crochet along with me. You need to know chain, single crochet, double crochet, and slip stitch. That's it. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started embellishing these baby socks. Now I'm working with a pair of socks that are these Garanimals toddler baby socks. You can see I buy them in a package of 10 pairs. These are the 18 to 36 month size. I believe I pulled them out of here. You can always just check their size and that'll, yep. That's what these are. And that's just one of the options. There's other socks you can find out there that you can use for this, but these work very good. These are a dark purple, so I thought I would use those because it'll show the contrast well for you. This is how I buy my white thread because I use that most, obviously. I've got Finnegan here as my associate to help. It is Aunt Lydia's crochet thread and it's in size 10. And I'm just using the white. This is the band from a different skein, but that's that. And for these socks I tested, and I am going to use a number 3 crochet hook, which is 2.10 millimeters. 2.10 millimeters. So we're going to start by opening up the fold of the sock. Put that one aside. I always try to find the back of the sock. I like to start there because it's not quite as obvious on your start, because your start will have a slightly noticed, but very little, really very little. I'm going to get some thread out here and I will get started. Now, always work from the inside of the sock as though that's your outside, because when you turn it, it will be the outside. So you want that to be where you're working on the inside. And I just stretch the sock out a little bit and I can see the ribs. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see the ribs. And I'm going to go in between in between the ribs, and I'm just staying at the top edge. Stop. This is all too tempting for him. And I'm going to attach, I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and that's a single crochet. And I'm going to make a single crochet in basically in between each one of these ribs all the way around. And a little trick and a tip is I'm going to take that beginning tail and I'm going to hold it right up here next to the sock, and I'm going to actually work it in as I go. So I'm going to single crochet around that tail as well as the sock, and then that leaves me without having to do a weave in. I can just trim it off and just single crochet over top of the sock and the tail. Finnegan is my quality control assistant. He keeps an eye on everything. Eventually he gets bored, but he's very curious. For a 10-year-old cat, He's still very curious. So again, we're single crocheting in between each rib of the sock. It's quite a few, and you want to do it kind of loosely, because as the sock stretches, you want your crochet to stretch a little bit as well, which it just naturally does. So I would say I usually do about 8 or 10 over top of this tail, and then I can drop it and let it, single crochets that is, and let it go, and just get it out of my way and continue to move around the sock. And when you get back to the beginning, your final single crochet, just slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now we're ready for the next row. This row is going to be double crochet, so we want to chain 3. And now we are going to put a total of 3 double crochets in each single crochet space. So since I have my chain is 1, I did 2 more. Now on the next one, we're going to do 3 double crochets. And 3 double crochets in the next chain 1. And you continue around the sock until you're back where you started, with 3 double crochets in each chain 1. When you get back to where you started, slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet, and you're ready to begin round 3 with 3 chains again, and 2 double crochets into the top of each double crochet from the previous row. So that's my chain 3 plus 1 double crochet. Now in the next one, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So you can see this is getting more and more stitches, more ruffly. There we go. And that's this whole round. 2 double crochets into the top of each previous double crochet on the previous row. Okay, we're in the last couple of stitches here of row 1, 2, 3. So last 2 double crochets in each double crochet of the previous row. And again. And that finishes this row. So again, slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, and this time we're going to cut it off. And we get to the finishing, and that's really the fun part. This is what I was looking for. They're variegated, multicolored. It's got lots of purple in it. I know these socks look blue, but they really are a dark purple. And so I'm going to begin using that as my final edging. So let's get started here. Same hook, no difference there. loop. Okay, I'm going to come back here to the sock. This is the back of the sock because that's where I started. I want to start still in the back, but over, I always go to my right a little ways so that I can get this colored yarn hooked in and worked in before I get to the white. So a single crochet to attach. Okay, single crochet to attach. And once again, I am going to hang on to this tail so that I can crochet it in and I don't have to get out a needle and work it in. And I'm going to do one single crochet in the top of the previous, each of the previous rows, double crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way around the top here. And again, I like to go 8 or 10 stitches before I drop this tail. That makes me feel that it's relatively secure. And then I'm also going to pick up and work in the tail of the white when I get to it, so that I will have one tail at the end to work in. Everything else I will just trim off. This is our 4th row, and we'll have one final row after this. And when you get back to the first single crochet, slip stitch. And at this point, it's cute. Got lots of colors. You could be done. But for me, I got to add that little extra. So I'm going to go around one more time. This time, it's going to be a single crochet. So single crochet in the same space that you just slip stitched. Chain 3. Skip a stitch and single crochet. Chain 3, skip 1 single crochet and single crochet into the next. Chain 3, skip 1, go into the next single crochet. Chain 3, all the way around, and you can see this makes kind of just an extra little ruffle. I also like that it added some more of the color when I'm using the colored yarn, and gave me an opportunity to have the colors kind of be opposite. They don't always work out that way, but be a little bit opposite of one another. All right, for the last chain, 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to fasten it here into the first single crochet with a slip stitch and fasten it off tight. This is the only string we should have to weave in. All the rest have been done already, so they've been worked in by actually crocheting them in. So I can just snip them right off, and they are finished. And so fold the sock down above where the heel hits, here, just above where the heel hits the sock, and get out my darning needle and get that stitched down in. Good darning needle is invaluable. I always fold it in half over the needle, very tight, and then stick that folded piece through. That seems to work pretty well for me on a regular basis. And then I'm just going to work this through the chains I made. Mostly because I'm in a space where I'm in green, and since it's a purple end, I want to get to kind of where the purple is before I start lighting it through. So I'll go through this single crochet here and then back up through my chains. I just like to go a few stitches, and sometimes if I can, a different direction, and that should do it. We'll snip that off, and the finishing touch. So cute. And then I finish all the socks with I buy these little rosettes, which you can see, a darker blue. Sometimes it's hard to find a use for the darker blue. And since there is the dark blue in the sock, that actually I think is my favorite right now. So let me find my other one, because you gotta have two socks. I think I'll use those and rest away. And I just simply use a needle and white thread to sew those on. I do want to caution you though, make sure that when you sew this on, you're going to sew through the cuff. So you want to make sure that you've got the cuff positioned the way that you want it. And when you go to do the other sock, put them together as a pair and make sure that your rosette goes on. I always put it on the outside of the ankle, not towards the inside. And you want to make sure that you've got a right and a left sock, not two rights or two lefts. That doesn't work out so great. So I just take some white thread. I have it doubled because I do want this to be strong, a strong hold here. And I just place it where I want it, hold it down, turn the sock to the inside, just stitch through 4 or 5 times usually. Go a couple different directions. And then my system is always 2 knots. Used to double knot my kids' shoestrings, so I guess I double knot everything. Go. And snip it off. And you can see in hour or 2 you can have a sock done. In an evening you can do a pair. Without much stress. So you've got a great little gift for a little girl, and you can make for all different occasions, all different styles. And again, this is how I do it, but it's something I just made up kind of one day when I thought about it. And you certainly could make variations. So let me show you some of the variations I have. Here's a tiny little pink sock. These are the terry socks with that. I've got green with that very pastel multicolored. Those my favorite, some of my favorite, and this one's not quite done. but is a totally white sock. This works great for christening or baptism. It's a totally white sock, and then I finished with the edging with this white, but it's been wrapped in a pearl or kind of an iridescent metallic mylar, and it just gives it a little bit of a shimmer. And then on those socks I use either this little all white bow and a pearl. See that better? I don't know if you can see the iridescence in that yarn at the edge. Or I also have the all white with the little green flower on there. So either one, whether you want it to be truly all white with no other color, or if you want just that little tiny hint of green, a little white flower. And that's how I finish those. And those are usually gifts for new babies prior to their baptism or christening for little girls. Let me see if I have anything else in here I can show you. Oh, here's one with the same yarn as we did here, but with a white sock. And I think that's all of the varieties I have done. Let's see. Oh, and another variation is you can take a hair tie. This one's a really old hair tie, so it's very loose, but you can take a hair tie and do the same method around in a hair tie. This one unfortunately has been sitting outside in my garage. It's a lot of work. It's many more stitches than a pair of socks, but it does, for an older girl, make a really pretty hair tie. When it is fastened on a ponytail or a bun or something, it makes a very pretty ruffly hair tie. So that pretty much does it. Please, 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 if you're interested in making these socks, I will put links to the kinds of yarn, the socks, and the flowers in the description, or you can purchase them through those links. That helps me. I appreciate it. And if you want to purchase socks, if this is not something that you're interested in doing, but you'd like to make a gift of them, these will be available at my Etsy shop. So please feel free to click that link in the description that takes you to my Etsy shop and peruse the sock options and all the other crafts that I have out there. We appreciate your support and your business, and we really are happy to have you join us. God bless you today and your family. Stay safe, and I hope to see you very soon.